Hello, good evening, Dr. Carissa. Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Doc
Teka,
June.
tignan ko nga yung aking talta ko lang yung aking background. Ito. Okay. Okay. Ito tayo bumalik. Okay. Okay, so yan, hindi na ako mag-open ng kama. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to the part 2 of the seminar series for those enrolled in thesis seminar and thesis writing. This is a free seminar that we conduct in conjunction with our plan to assist students who are in their beginning or conceptualization phase, or those who are already enrolled or re-enrolled in thesis seminar or end thesis writing. Can you hear me? Sorry, I can't hear myself. Okay. So with that, so that we can start right away, so that you get immersed already for the topic for today. Today is about qualitative research. Okay. So I do hope you learn from this. Okay. And I do appreciate, even if you're not doing qualitative and you still attended, then that's nice. Okay. That's good. Okay. So our resource speaker for tonight, I think it's not new to you. She is our academic coordinator for our college. She was also the former program head for the graduate studies in the MAN program, and she is also the former director for international linkages. Okay, so right now she has many hats. Okay, I hope you don't wear the hat of a comedian, ha, Dr. Chris. So yeah, but she's bubbly. Okay, so anyway, with that, no, napagtagalin. Welcome, dear students, and let us please lend Dr. Carissa your ears and your hearts and your ball pens, okay, to the topic for tonight. Okay, so let us welcome our resource speaker, Dr. Carissa Balaria.
Thank you, Dr. June. Okay, so hello, everyone. So welcome to the second part of the thesis seminar series of the MANDL graduate school program. So today, the lecture will be on qualitative research. My topics will be about the theoretical framework in qualitative research methods, qualitative data gathering procedure, and qualitative data analysis. So, as mentioned by Dr. Liabres, these topics would hopefully help you in your pursuit, or if you're going to pursue a qualitative research study. So I am Carissa Balaria. I am one of your professors here at Wesleyan University, Philippines, and I will be serving as your speaker for today. Okay. So the first topic would be on theoretical framework in qualitative research. Okay, so let's first define what theoretical framework is. So a theoretical framework is a set of concepts, theories, assumptions, and principles that provide a foundation for understanding and analyzing a particular phenomenon or problem. It is a comprehensive and systematic way of thinking about a research problem and provides a structure for organizing ideas, developing your research questions, and interpreting findings. Additionally, so let's simplify what that means. So when we say theoretical framework from the root word theory, you will look for already, what is a theory? It's something that has already been proven. So you look for something that is already proven. Later on, I'll discuss to you how theoretical framework applies to qualitative research, because I already know you have questions in your mind that, oh, in quali, there should be no theoretical framework. Okay? So hold that thought in your mind. I'll explain that later. Okay? So a set of concepts, proven ideas. From there, you will derive whatever you want to study. Okay? So think about it, theoretical framework. It is what frames your study based on a set of concepts. Okay. So what does the theoretical framework do? It helps researchers conceptualize the problem. So from the proven theories, you're able to think of something to answer, a problem that you want to answer. And then later on, identify maybe the variables, because maybe there are already answers to certain questions, but some in your mind have not been answered. What do I mean by that? So a lot of studies about COVID, but maybe there's no, what are the usual studies on COVID? The vaccines, of course, the symptoms, but what if there's a new symptom and you want to find that out? So of course, you look for proven data, and then you derive from that. Okay? So I'll proceed. Okay. So here are key reasons why a theoretical framework is important in qualitative research. So as I've already mentioned, it guides the research process. Think of it as a roadmap. Because it's already proven, it will guide you along the way, sort of like a roadmap that helps you define the research questions, your design, and then you will select along the process what you think is best to do for your study. So it also helps to identify the relative concepts and variables, so you know which figures, which data, which concepts to study. What are the things you want to study? Is it about academic excellence? Is it about the knowledge? Is it about behavior, etc.? So it also facilitates data analysis. So it allows you to find patterns. If patterns already existed before, maybe it's something that would divulge new patterns that would emerge from your study. It would help you come up with themes, relationships relevant to your question. Okay. Now, here, it increases the rigor of the research. So when you say rigor, it gives meat to the study. It is what we define as what makes a study grounded in research. So meaning pag may rigor yung study mo, it's well thought of, it's well planned, it's well researched. Okay. And then enhances the credibility of research. So why? Because it gives you a clear rationale for your research design and analysis. But because it's already based on theories and concepts that have already been proven before. So in summary, before I proceed, a theoretical framework is essential in qualitative research because it provides a foundation for the research process. By helping you identify concepts and variables, by facilitating data analysis, increasing the rigor, and enhancing your credibility sa research. Okay, next. So another reason how your theoretical framework can help you is in creating research questions. Okay, let's focus on research questions because as you all know, the hypothesis is solely for quantitative, okay? But I will just present to you why, because that's what really theoretical framework is used for, to come up with questions and hypotheses, okay? So as mentioned, it will help you understand your problem because you already have a point of origin, point of comparison from previously proven studies. So here are some of the ways in which theoretical framework can help in creating research question and hypothesis. So it helps you identify the research gaps. So what do you mean by research gaps? If you remember, if you can recall, a research gap is something that is lacking in the literature. Meaning, there's something proven, but there's a gap. There is a space for you to fill. There's a space for an answer. There is a problem. So that gap is something that it doesn't exist. And that is why we conduct research, because we aim to answer that gap. Okay. So you guide the researcher by creating the research questions through the variables and the concepts that you will be able to come up with. Okay. So as for quanti ito, sa develop hypothesis, when you examine the relationship, whether you're comparing, you're describing, you're contrasting, that is when you can develop a hypothesis, because you will show relationship or difference, because that is what the the variables. So for example, IQ and sleep, or if the psychology of the mind. For example, you have a teacher who teaches you, but he uses Socratic method to the point that if you are not able to answer, he asks you to stand up, or he will shout at you, maybe humiliate you. As opposed to a teacher who guides you along the way during recitation, which do you think would be better? So, what will we study there? So, let's compare the two teachers. One who is strict, one who is more understanding or more therapeutic in terms of teaching. So, let's see let's see which among the teachers will produce students with higher marks. So again, as I mentioned, hypothesis is purely for quanti. Okay. So you can refine your research questions, because you have to stick to that gap. Because if it's already answered, you shouldn't research about it anymore. It's pointless. If you were my student before, remember the goal for research is to be able to tell us, the panel members or the society who will read your paper, so what? You have to answer that. So what? Ano ngayon? Why do we study this? Okay. And then to ensure theoretical consistency, so that it would be valid and accurate when we use a theoretical framework. Okay, so this is what I was telling you about. Yes, in qualitative researches, it is not ideal that we use a theoretical framework. Instead, what we use is a conceptual framework. So a concept, it's something, a figure, an image, an idea in your mind. Okay? Now, one of the things that we have to avoid in conducting qualitative research is to avoid bias. Okay? When we already put a lot of concepts inside the conceptual framework, for example, higher marks, lower EQ levels, different factors, you're already advantages, disadvantages, you're already preempting results. So therefore, in qualitative research, we make use of this figure. Just the circle with your title in the middle. Any type of qualitative research, you place that there. This is your working conceptual framework. Now, later on, that's why it's called a working conceptual framework. Later on, once you get the variables, this will change. And that is where you can already place your diagram, your figures, your flow chart, your framework. Okay? Just send a message. I placed all of you on mute, so you can't unmute yourself. But if you have questions, you can raise your hand or you can type in the chat box, okay? I will read them on later. Okay. Another use of of theoretical framework is the literature review. So when you search literature review, because you have to do RRL, review of related literature, you can already see different RRL, okay? So you this would, by reading literature review, you will be able to come up with good or better theoretical frameworks. Okay. Ay, di pala to touchscreen. Okay, so here are some of the ways wherein literature review can help you create your theoretical framework. First is to, sige, I think this is related. Can I use both theoretical framework and conceptual framework? For the beginning, in chapter 1, you use conceptual framework. Okay? Conceptual framework. The theoretical framework we do not use because qualitative is theory building. Therefore, if you base your study on a proven theory, there's no purpose. But the theoretical framework can guide you in the different areas, such as creating research questions, creating your lit review. Okay, I hope I was able to answer your question, Ms. Santiago. Okay. So identify relevant theories and concepts. So, as I've mentioned, once you look at the literature review, you'll be able to see already the themes. When I say themes, these are the topics, these are the concerns. For example, is COVID, use of artificial intelligence in academic institutions, use of AI, artificial intelligence in teaching. So what are your themes there? So first, of course, artificial intelligence. Next is education. Next is academic setting. Next is, what else can we think about? The effects to student learning. Okay. Sa mixed method, yes, you have to use both. Later on in my other lectures, I'll be tapping on a little bit about mixed methods. Okay? Pag mixed method kasi, it's both quali and quanti. Therefore, you have to use both. Okay? So, synthesize existing research. So, sa literature review, my tip for all of you is, research as much topics as you want or as much literature per theme. And then what I like to do is I make index cards. I place there the topic and then I write already the specific quote or specific text that, it touched me or it made sense, that it's something that I want to come out in my study. So I'll already put it there in quotation marks. And then, of course, I'll place the page number. So later on, when I write my literature review, I can just look at my index cards and just place them there instead of, copying and pasting the entire text. Okay. So again, to identify gaps in the literature, we've already explained that. To refine the research question, because you're already limiting what from the gap. If it's too much, too general, we can limit it to specific, to answer a specific question of yours. And again, the theoretical consistency to make sure our research is valid and reliable. Okay. So, okay. Here are some sources, okay, that you can use for literature. Okay, remember we have primary and secondary sources. So academic journals, okay, these are published. Usually you try to look. Google is your friend. So there are certain tips on how to use Google, such as use of quotation marks to look for exact words or titles, use the plus sign, and then file, ano tawag doon? Colon, file type to look for PDF, studies, and you will see a lot of free journals that you can use in your study. Of course, books, whether e-books or hardbound books, these are also things that you can use to for literature review. Conference proceedings, so because it shows you the latest developments depending on the industry you're searching from. So if it's a nursing, so things in the nursing journal could help you um, in the nursing conferences, in symposia there that can help you. Dissertation and thesis, make sure, so if somebody, okay, good, if you haven't chosen your title, I'm not sure if any one of you have already selected the title that you want. What you do, you go to the library, the university library where you're located, because of course you'll have access to this, and then you go get a dissertation that tickles your mind, that it piqued your interest. What you do, you go to the last pages under recommendations. Why? Because the person who wrote that thesis, they have recommendations to future researches. And then from there, that means that is the gap in their study that they wish other researchers, future researchers can answer. So that is something you can pick up. So dissertations and theses. Okay. So government reports, of course, if it's in the government, we especially if it's related to public policy, these reports can give you insights to social, economic, and political factors that can help shape your research topic. So what else? Gray literature. What do you mean by gray literature? These are literature that have not yet been published. However, they are present in symposia, in forum, in fora, wherein sometimes they give you handouts, but it has not been published. It has just been presented in conferences. So these are also valid because someone already studied them. It just so happens they have not published it. So, okay. What else? Key concepts. Okay. So these are the central ideas or terms to a particular study or theory. Okay. So key concepts and constructs. What are these? Of course, you know what a concept is. It's an abstract idea. As in, that's why for those of you who were my students before in research methods, what I ask is for you to think of an idea. And I always ask you to relate it to your current line of work. Because it's just an idea. It doesn't have to be a title. It's just a concept, a notion that represents a events or phenomena. Okay. There. Okay. So what's a construct? Construct is a theoretical idea or abstraction that represents a psychological or social attribute. Examples are your intelligence, self-support, self-esteem, social support, those things. So it's behavioral, it's psychological. Okay. Operationalization. Okay, it's how you define it. So remember how we define terms? The operative definition or the conceptual definition. When we say operational, it is how we use the term in the study. If it's the what did I say? I forgot. Operational versus my mind. the structural definition, it's what we define in the dictionary. So what is operational definition? Let's say student. In the dictionary, student is defined as someone who enters, who studies in a school. Okay. If we operationalize it, student could mean a third-year nursing student studying at Wesleyan University, Philippines. So we operationalize it, how we use it in the study. So in your definition of terms or definition of keywords, we prefer the operational definition because it is how you use it in the study. Okay, I hope I'm being clear. Please let me know if I'm being too fast. If you want me to clarify something, just raise your hand, do an emoticon, or use the chat box. Thank you. Okay. So the variable, these are the attributes that you want to study, okay? So the independent and the dependent, their relationships together. So si independent yung nagpe-predict, the dependent is the outcome. Okay. So hypothesis, this is not for quali, this is for quanti, but it just shows you the relationship and a prediction of what you think will happen if you combine those variables together. Okay. So let's go to theoretical perspectives and approaches. Okay. So they help again organize and guide us in the research study. Okay. So these are some of the main theoretical perspectives and approaches in research. So when we say positivism, so it emphasizes the use of objective methods, meaning objective meaning real, meaning I don't know if you can see this. So positivism, this is a water bottle, correct? So as is, that's it. You can't define other terms what a water bottle is. That's it. Okay. So positivists, what they believe that knowledge can be obtained through observation, measurement, and experimentation. They believe in exact, and in exactly what you see is what you get. This is a, I don't know what size, 40-ounce water bottle. So that means it can hold 40 ounces of water. Positive. Okay. Let's go to interpretivism. So this is where we can already define or establish meaning. So how can I interpret this? This is a device or object that gives me sustenance, that gives me health. Okay. So you interpret it however you want. Okay. So that it already gives you leeway to define something. It's as if you're imagining something. Okay. So they don't just believe, okay, it's pink, it's blue, it's there. You interpret. Okay. Critical theory. Okay. As from the word critical, these are the topics that question sociality, social justice, politics. Okay, I don't unless you have a political paper that you wish to submit in the nursing theories. We don't use this much. Okay. Then postmodernism, it gives you multiple perspectives and interpretations. They tend to challenge the truth. Okay. So sometimes a bit of history is questioned here. They blend the then and now. That's postmodernism. Again, we don't really use that much in quali. Pero si positivism and interpretivism, yes, we used it. Okay. So research design and methods, okay? So the strategies and procedures used by the researchers to collect and analyze data. Okay? Naulit. Okay. So data analysis and interpretation is how you analyze the data that you received. How do you interpret it? Okay? Because sometimes a nurse can tell you he no longer wants to live. The elderly patient diagnosed with stage 4 cancer no longer wants to live. So interpret it in different ways. He is tired of his life. He is in pain and he wants to leave this world. So you see, you can interpret it in different ways. So one word, different meanings. And later when we go to analysis, we'll try to make you interpret so you can do it on your own. Okay? Okay. So as mentioned, theoretical framework, what they do, it provides you that guiding framework. Remember the roadmap. Okay. Ensure rigor, making sure your study is well researched, well thought of, well planned. Okay. And it allows for generalizability because since it's already been proven before, it just adds on to that body of knowledge that tells you, yes, it is one and the same. Okay. And then promoting interdisciplinary research. When we think about the, how do I say this? We provide a common language and the theoretical perspective that can be shared across disciplines. Meaning, even if you're a nurse and someone from psychology or social sciences would read your paper, they would understand it. Okay. So, in summary, theoretical framework has many uses in the creation of a qualitative research paper. Okay. So, to develop theories, to increase the rigor, for interdisciplinary collaboration, and for us to generalize the study in different disciplines. Okay. So here is my references for the first topic. Okay. So while I'm opening my next slide, any questions? You can raise your hand. Wala. Was I clear? Doc. Yes, continue. Ay, okay. Ma'am, when it comes to qualitative research, how many respondents are needed to say that a study is more valid? Okay. So for qualitative research, according to Creswell, okay, according to Creswell, a minimum of 5 is enough to make your study valid. Pero the proper answer there is you stop when you have already established what do you call this? Kalimutan ko tuloy. How do you say it? Oh, my mind is not working. Okay, wait. If your study, for example, in 2011 or 2012, we had the first, 2007 pala, 2007, we had the first case of Kawasaki disease here in the Philippines, in Manila, in PJG. Now, if you wanted to study about patients suffering from Kawasaki lived experiences of patients suffering from Kawasaki disease, as I've mentioned, she was the first and only patient then who had Kawasaki disease. She's only one. So that's enough. Because no other person can tell you of the experiences of Kawasaki disease. Okay, now I remember the word. Okay, the proper answer, if a panel would ask you, when do you stop? It's when data saturation has been met. When we say data saturation, meaning, di ba you have guide questions? When you ask all those questions, and then it's the same thing all over again. They keep saying, oh, my grades went up. I felt so motivated by my teacher because she was not scary. She was very helpful. She was therapeutic. I was so engaged. So see, if it keeps on, if pare-pareho lang, if it's the same answer paulit-ulit, then data saturation has been met. So, but if it's only applicable to one is enough. Pero, for example, a lot of people have the same description, your criteria, your selection criteria for a participant. 5 is the minimum, depending on the study. Okay? For Pheno, 5. Okay? GT, grounded theory, at least 10. Narrative inquiry, at least 6. Photo voice, minimum of 6 to 10. Okay. Minimum, excuse me. Excuse me po. Okay? So I hope I answered you, RR. I don't know your names, ha? Kindly rename yourselves. Yung sa working title po, yes. Yung circle with the title, that's your working framework. Ano ba yan? Minimum number of related lit, wala. Pero, there's no minimum number. Nihika ko, sorry. There's no minimum number of related literature for qualitative studies. However, for purposes of compliance to the university requirements for a master's thesis, a requirement of about 50 to 100 literature is needed. Mixed method, madami. Pag quali, ganito ha, Miss Molo. For qualitative, dun sa participants, as I've mentioned already, 5, 6, 10. Pero dun sa quanti part, what you do is, you use the calculator. I-type ko dito sa chat box, ha. So it's called Rosoff calculator. Pero there are other calculators that you may use to determine the number of participants at a 95% margin of error. Automatic na yun. Please do not use any more Sloven's formula, ha? Sloven's formula is no longer accepted when you want to publish internationally. Okay? Okay, so I have 3 more topics, guys. So continue ko na, ha? Type lang kayo ng questions, okay? Don't worry. Okay, so now I'm not sure if you've already selected. So my next topic will be on the types of research design in qualitative research. Ay, wait. If I stop this ba, apat yung mag-save. Well, anyway, mas maganda. Wait. Stop. Ko. Ulit ko lang.